along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Now, lots of news flying around today about Unai Emery willing to sell 7 players so he can fund the purchase of a speedy winger and a left back. A lot of publications going with this story today. He needs to raise funds at the start of the season, or shall I say at the end of the season, start of the transfer season. We were told that basically Arsenal got around about £50 million to spend, and we were all like, what? Is that it? What are you going to get with that? And so far, sort of looking at the spending that we've done, it kind of is playing out that way, that it's more or less about £50 million worth of funds. Remember, we haven't now been in the Champions League. This is going to make 2 seasons, and not being in the Champions League means a massive drop in the amount of money you have available to buy players. You only have to look at Liverpool, who've been out of the Champions League for ages and ages. Now that they're back in the Champions League and are back in again for another season, they're spending big. They're buying guys like Alisson. They bought Van Dijk last season. They're spending big money, and a lot of that is because they know that they've got a lot of income coming their way from the Champions League. So not being in the Champions League is a big drop for Arsenal. I mean, Wenger used to talk about it for so many years, the importance of getting in there. He didn't get in there for the last couple of seasons, and we're now paying the price when it comes to buying players. So in order to buy this speedy winger that Unai Emery is looking for, and left back, according to the newspapers today, Arsenal willing to sell up to 7 players. They made a long list, starting off with, on the list, Mustafi, Welbeck, Monreal, Petr Cech, David Ospina, Lucas Perez, and Carl Jenkinson. Now, the funny thing is, I was sort of, I thought to myself, let me analyse what sort of money that would raise if they did actually sell all 7 of these players, which I don't think they will, but going by what the papers say, right? And what I did is I went on, there's this website, Transfer Market. They sort of do a valuation of a player. I've gone strictly off their valuation, right? And their valuation is always the sort of rock bottom. It means that you can normally raise more money than this, but rock bottom valuations that they've gone by. Mustafi, they value currently at about £22.5 million. Remember, we paid 35 for him, so we've lost a lot of money on him. Welbeck, they value at 13.5 million. I remember the other day I was saying about 10, maybe 15 people were going to go at me saying he's worth 20, 30. He's not. He's not at the moment, right? They value him about 13.5, probably could get about 15, but that's what they're valuing him at. Nacho Monreal, they value at £11.7 million. Petr Cech, 2.7 million. David Ospina, they value at 5 million. Lucas Perez, they value at 6.75 million. And Carl Jenkinson, they value at 3.5 million, which, if you add all that together, that's £65.65 million, right? Adds, again, as I said, players like Mustafi, you could probably get more than 22.5, probably, say if you went 25 for him, 15 Welbeck, I don't know, Ospina, you went up to 10, Perez 10. You could probably add about, another 15 to that, right? So you get about 80 million if you sold all those players. So in reality, if he did sell all those players, that's a fair, decent chunk amount of money that could be raised to go towards buying the speedy winger that apparently Unai Emery is chasing. And I do think we could do with a winger. We could do with a winger out there on the left. I've said it a lot of times. Tricky winger would be brilliant out there. Now, who could we get for that sort of money? If you had, say, 65 to 80 million pounds, which sort of tricky winger could you get? Fast winger could you get? Of course, mentioned him a couple of days ago, Kingsley Coman. I think, listen, there's talk that Arsenal are preparing a £44 million bid for Kingsley Coman. Bayern Munich would want more than that, but let's say 55 million maybe could get that done. So that would be within that amount of money. Kingsley Coman, of course, is only 22. As I said the other day, had a bit of an indifferent season due to injury last year. Didn't make the French squad, but he's a multi-talented player. And despite having a contract till 2023 with Bayern Munich, His career a little bit uncertain at the moment now that Bayern Munich have brought in a brand new manager. Although, you know, with Iron Robin and Ribéry knocking on a bit, I do think that they'll retain Kingsley Coman. But with that sort of money raised, something like that would be doable. Then the next person, this is ones that I'm suggesting. I'm going to suggest two now. Wilfried Zaha. I know. I talk about him a lot on the show because I rate him. Not everybody always does rate him. A lot of people are like, yeah, he's okay. But I rate him. Every time I've seen him play against Arsenal, he gives us no end of trouble. He's a good player. I know he went to Manchester United and it didn't work out for him. But since returning to Palace, he's been their main man. And, you know, really, he's the guy, really, the main guy that got him out of that relegation battle last season, because he's so... him and Mahrez, those two guys, they're very similar in that they take on players. They're so quick, they're so tricky, they're really hard to deal with. Now, Zaha has apparently said to Crystal Palace that he wants to leave. He's turned down £125,000 a week contract, is what a lot of the talk is saying, and that he might be available for a move this summer. However, Crystal Palace has slapped a £70 million price tag on him, which is, wow, that is way too high as far as I'm concerned. But that looks to be the sort of money that they're looking for Wilfried Zaha. That's way too much, but again, Zaha will be great. What about this next one? Now, I know everyone again is going to say, laugh at me and stuff like that. And listen, this is probably can't be done. But if there was a way possible, I think, for me, this would be my perfect signing of the fast winger. And I'm going to tell you how it could work. Douglas Costa of Juventus. Now, I know what you're going to say. Straight away, you're going to turn around to me. You're going to say, listen, he only just signed a deal to become permanent at Juventus. He was, of course, on loan from Bayern Munich. Juventus made the deal permanent at the start of the transfer window. I think he was the deal was worth about up to £55 million. And he's now a permanent player at Juventus after having a good season at Juventus last year after being on loan from Bayern Munich. The reason why I say this is a possibility, difficult possibility, it would cost a lot of money, is because now Juventus have bought Cristiano Ronaldo. So what happens to Douglas Costa's playing time? I mean, he's gone from being the absolute main man at the start of the transfer window to all of a sudden this opportunity arising where Juventus were able to get Cristiano Ronaldo. Who's going to start? I mean, they basically play the same position. I mean, Douglas Costa, he can play right, he can play left, but he plays predominantly on the right-hand side. What then happens to Cristiano Ronaldo? They paid £99 million for him. He's the main man, the person who's going to sell all the shirts. And now he's starting, basically. That's what I'm saying. He's starting. What happens to Douglas Costa? Is there a chink there that Arsenal could go in and make a big offer and say, even though you know he's assigned to a new deal, we'll take him, or we'll take him on loan or something? I don't know, man. To me, these are the sort of moves that I'd like to see Arsenal making. But Douglas Costa at Arsenal, Douglas Costa, Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan. Oh my gosh. That would be, the pace of that attack would be absolutely outstanding. So again, doable if you've got enough money to make it happen. You know, you can make things happen. And again, Douglas Costa was brilliant in the World Cup. Then of course there's our friend Ousmane Dembele. We all know what Dembele's capable of. He's a top player. Barcelona have said they want to hang on to him, but then I was reading today that Barcelona talking about possibly offering Dembele to Chelsea in exchange for a deal for Eden Hazard. Now, talk like that wouldn't be going out if they were determined to hold on to him. He was a big part player last year, could possibly be available. I mean, again, it's going to be one of those where if Arsenal were to try and make that happen, they'd have to pull out all the stops. Are they willing to do that? Are they willing to raise the right amount of money required to get these sort of deals done? Who knows? But listen, those are three biggies for me. Three big marquee. And I still think, even though we've done decent business, Getting players in the right areas so far this season, I still don't think it's enough. I still think Arsenal needs a big, exciting player to come into that squad ahead of the new season. You can see how excited all the Liverpool fans are at the moment. City have just bought Mahrez on top of what they've got. I know we've got to deal with the areas, but I really want the board to back Unai Emery with something really big as well to really get him thundering into the new season. And one of those three would be perfect. Very, very difficult, but perfect. But they've got to give him the funds to get it done. Whether it's selling these players, I mean, listen, they're not going to sell all 7 of those, but I do think they will sell at least 5 of those players to raise more funds. So I'm really wondering who that special signing or that fast winger might be. Maybe one of those, hopefully. Kelechi Enquiries, Arsenal player. We haven't seen him at Arsenal play yet because he's just been permanently out on loan. He's out on loan all season last year in Holland. Well, he's going out on another loan, this time to Porto. That's a good club to go out to on loan to. You really get a chance to learn his trade there. So he's going to be going out on loan to Porto this season. Ivan Gazidis has turned down the chance to take over at AC Milan. Remember I spoke about this the other day and I said that AC Milan wanted Ivan Gazidis to come in and be in charge there. The hedge fund, the American hedge fund that have taken over, wanted Gazidis. Well, Gazidis has turned that down apparently and will be staying at Arsenal. And wow, as I said at the time, had this have been 2 years ago, every fan, I think, would have been saying, go now. But right now, Gazidis he's turned it around with the appointments he's made, with how he's handled the whole Wenger thing and that. He's turned it around. The fans are really on his side at the moment. Right? So Gazidis turning down that move. And news today that Arsenal have made a signing of what is described as a data scientist. Now, this guy, Mikhail Zikolin, he used to be head of Candy Crush. Remember that game, Candy Crush? Well, he was the person who used to head up that game, and he deals with all the analytics and that. And he's been brought in to sort of analyse all of the injuries and physical data at Arsenal. And as I said, data scientists, this is what it's all about nowadays with these... it's all very technical. He's come in as part of the backroom staff at Arsenal. So, wow. They'll be playing Candy Crush there in the change rooms. Right, let's get into a couple of your comments. Joe Campbell says, Joe Campbell, I'm thinking. Joe Jacob says, I still think we need Soyuncu, Freiburg, of course. And I think Lucas Perez should be given a chance. Trade Danny Welbeck for Zaha. Gives them some money, and Welbeck, as I said, 70 million is the sort of money they're looking for Zaha right now. They won't get that, but that's the sort of money that they're looking for Wilfried Zaha, so it'd be expensive. JR Body Surfing says, we still need defensive reinforcements. Not convinced with a Mustafi-Socrates partnership, he says. Bafalomeo says, the board should support Unai Emery. If the guy wants Nzonzi, get him Nzonzi. It's Unai's first season, for crying out loud. He needs all the support from everyone. I agree with that. It's his first season. Back him. So far, so good. I still think something else is required. King Hover says, why are we not going for Malcolm? It's a reasonable target. He's young. We could get Zaha and he would be worth every penny. I agree. I'm a Zaha fan, you know that. And go with this as the last one. Usman A.M. Bello says, Aaron Ramsey is overhyped and overrated. He didn't deserve to be our player of the season. Monreal did. Always attacked, but he never returns to help out Granit Xhaka. That's why we blame Xhaka. He's not hit his potential everyone was hoping for, and he has flopped. We should sell him and upgrade him with the likes of Adrian Rabiot or Paul Pogba. Pogba? We wouldn't get Pogba. They never sold Pogba to us. Listen, it's a big season for Ramsey. If he signs, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. A bit like Mesut Ozil at the moment. Mesut Ozil signed big wages now. Everybody's expecting. No more drop-offs, no more. Everyone's expecting every game. It'll be the same for Aaron Ramsey. I kind of see where this guy is coming from in that sometimes Ramsey can be amazing. Other times he can be the most frustrating player on the pitch. if he does sign a new deal, he's going to have to be consistently good. And it'll be a big moment for Aaron Ramsey. Listen, thanks for watching the show today. We'll be back tomorrow right here with another Transfer Daily.